Hello, welcome to another exciting episode of the Dre and Smiley Inner Circle podcast.
Molly, I'm really excited about this guest we have on today. I'll read a quick bio, then we'll jump right into it. Chrystal Hart, today's guest, is a dynamic mom of 3 boys, entrepreneur, transformational life coach, and Reiki practitioner. Her journey towards personal growth began in 2018 as she immersed herself in women-focused conferences and coaching programs, all while leading her own business and opening a women's clothing store in downtown Albany, Oregon. The pandemic of 2020 marked a pivotal moment for Chrystal, shifting her focus to becoming a stay-at-home school teacher for her youngest son. Confronted with his academic and behavioral challenges, Chrystal realized the importance of prioritizing her own well-being. Through meditation, journaling, and exploring modalities like breathwork and Reiki, she discovered tools to support her journey towards healing and resilience. Today, Chrystal is on a mission to empower women to reclaim their inner strength and find balance amidst life's challenges. With a newfound commitment to self-care and boundary setting, she navigates her role as a mother and entrepreneur while lifting others on their path to self-discovery. With that, Chrystal, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you guys so much. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
For sure, for sure. So I guess the first question that comes to mind is, first, being a mom of 3 boys, my mom is also a mother of 3 boys. And I told her that the reason she has 3 boys is because God realized how much patience she has. Everyone can't raise 3 boys. Am I right?
You are correct. I hear that so often. My husband praises me. He's like, you have so much patience.
Yeah,
It's a superpower.
It's a superpower. It's a superpower. That should like be the headline of any CV or resume. Mother of 3 boys. That's like the
Yes.
most qualifying. As I think about me and my brothers, I think we were good kids, but we were boys, and so I have a boy myself, and we like to explore. We like to test the boundaries. We like so. So I can imagine what you went through being a mom of 3 boys.
Yes, absolutely. It was wild. I mean, just their energy is so
Sure.
different from girls. So it's
Yeah.
like they're up
Yeah.
at 6:30 a.m. already punching each other. And I'm like, what's going on? I haven't even had coffee.
It's funny. Smiley and I, we got together recently as a bunch of guys, and spoiler alert, Chrystal. As adults, it doesn't change. Like we were all sitting together, hanging out, and Smiley's brother came in the room. And guess what he started doing as soon as he walked in the room with Chrystal?
I have no idea, but
Punching me.
Punching
Punching
on
me.
me.
okay. No hugs, just straight to the.
No,
Good to see you, man.
Yeah. I heard you were talking about me. You started punching me. So
Oh my gosh.
we never grow up. But back to you. Back to you. Tell me about your journey from being a busy entrepreneur mom and prioritizing your own well-being. Tell me about your journey in that respect.
Yeah. So, I mean, like 2020 for everyone else, it was a big eye opener for me, but I found that it was such a beautiful thing. Like, I'm so grateful for everything that I went through and everything that happened in 2020 because it forced me to stop. So, I think that we were moving at such a fast pace in this world. And when 2020 happened, we actually had to stop and we had to look at like what is actually happening. So I was at that time, I was running 2 businesses. I was raising 3 boys. My youngest son at the time was struggling tremendously in school. But what would happen is I'd get the calls from school. I would leave whatever meeting I was in. I would go there. He would run to me, mommy, mommy, so happy to see me, and I'd take him home and he was all better. And so I really wasn't fully seeing what was happening in school until 2020 happened. And so I was seeing some of his behaviors, but I wasn't seeing the full spectrum. And when I had to be his teacher, I saw the full spectrum of what was happening. And this forced me to have to say, oh my gosh, this is my number one priority. I have to eliminate all of this other noise. And that's really what it was. It was just noise that I was pulling into my life. So on the outside, it looked like I had everything together, right? I was doing it all. I was, my hair was perfect. It was, I looked so put together on the outside. And on the inside, I was falling apart. First of all, I was doing a lot of things, but I wasn't doing them well. And what I was doing is I was turning my back on the thing that was the most important thing in my life. And that's hard for me to even verbally say without feeling emotional. But it's something that we all do. Like when things are coming up and they're hard, it's so easy to start doing these other things that make us feel good versus dealing with the thing that we really need to be doing that's hard.
Oh, that's amazing. And so tell me, so from there, you mentioned your clothing business.
Yeah.
Did you become the Reiki, did I say it right?
Ricky?
Reiki expert during this, or was it before your business, or was it a result of the family situation? You're like, let me find this other form of
Yeah.
Eastern medication.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, it was definitely after that time. So in 2020, when I realized my son was having these all these things happening in school. He really needed me. I was not dealing with it well. We talked about patience. Well, at that time, because I was so stressed, I was living in this state of chronic stress. I was very short. I wasn't patient. I didn't have the patience to handle it. I was in tears. He was in tears. I was yelling. That was getting, he was, his behaviors were going downhill even further because I'm upset and he can feel that I'm upset, right? And so I'm like, this isn't working. I have to do things to take care of me in order to take care of him. And so along that way, I found these other modalities. I found breath work and I'm still a student of breath work and go to breath work and things, but I found Reiki and I fell in love with Reiki during that time. It was one of the things that I used to take care of me and to help me to regulate my nervous system and to be in that place where I could be literally the calm in the storm for him.
no, I always go back. Dre and I, we travel a lot, or I travel almost every month. Every airline on the planet says, put on your oxygen mask before you help your loved ones next to you,
Yes.
because if you pass out, you can't help them. So if
No.
I take that to mean if you focus on your self-care, the better you help take care of yourself, the more you can help your loved ones. Because if you're not strong mentally, physically, emotionally, you can't help them. Just for our
Right.
listeners, can you define what Reiki is? I researched it. I was fascinated, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that is so cool." But if you could just describe what that is.
Yeah, so Reiki, it's one of the hardest things to describe. And it is so cool because it's like whatever your experience is, every experience is going to be different and it's whatever you allow in. So the Reiki practitioner really is just calling on energy to flow through them and into the person that they're working on. And this can happen virtually or it can happen in person. So in person, we're working and mostly it's like light touch or even just hovering. And really what we're doing is we're just moving that energy through your body. So we might be storing things, different traumas, different things, aches, pains, whatever is inside of us. We're storing that. And so the idea is that we're using that energy to just move whatever that is. And so it can be a very emotional experience. There can be emotions that come up. There can be laughter. There can be all sorts of different things that happen during session. And like I said, every experience is so different, but it's so healing. And that's what I found from it is that I was able to heal things that were inside of me that I had just stuffed down and stuffed down and stuffed down. And so through healing my son, it actually was the biggest gift and healing of me. And I've completely changed my life because I wanted to be better for my son, which is such a beautiful thing.
It's amazing. And just one follow-up is it a session or a treatment or a program? Say, for example, as a
Yeah.
practitioner, if we use
Yes.
Dre as an example, you're like, man, Dre, he needs 1 8-hour session, or he needs 6 months, or how
Yeah.
does
What are
it,
you
how does
saying,
it
Right.
work?
Smiley? What are you saying?
Right. Well, Dre's gonna need a few months. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
We're gonna need to do some work. No.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. We'll get a
Hey,
couple.
take
Yeah.
all the help I can get. No problem.
So I have clients that come and they'll do one session. Some clients will come, I have weekly clients. I have clients that come every couple of weeks. I have clients, everybody's different in what they're doing. So for me, I do one-on-one sessions. I do 60 minutes and 90 minutes. I also have a program, which I really, really love, where I'm utilizing my skills as a life coach with Reiki. And so that's a 7-week program where we meet either weekly or bi-weekly for 90 minutes. And we're doing some life coaching, but then we do Reiki, and then we end with a little life coaching. And it's been a beautiful thing because we're just really uncovering, like, what are we storing in our bodies? What have we pushed down? And I'm giving them skills and ways of helping and dealing with those things. But also, mostly what I'm doing is helping them to regulate their nervous systems, and also getting them back in their bodies. Like, we are so often living outside of our bodies, and Reiki and the others, I do cold plunging too. So
Ooh.
yeah, but all of these things put us back inside of our bodies. Right? Like, when you're
Yeah.
in that water, when you're on my table, like, you are in your body. And that is so, so important in today's world that we live in, because we're on social media, we're living in states of chronic stress, we're living literally outside of our bodies. We've decided that it's unsafe to be here. And it's like, this is where we need to be.
Yeah. Yeah. So some of this, Crystals, as I think back about the prior guests we've had that offer some type of healing, support, that sort of thing. We've had psychologists and things like that, other life coaches. Talk to me about mental health. Obviously, is really important. We know that
Yeah.
now more than ever. A prior psychologist we had on said, some signs that you might want to seek some support as it relates to your mental health are that you find yourself feeling isolated. You find that you're triggered often. You find that everything is fuzzy and you can't focus, et cetera, et cetera. How do I know when there's a need for me to seek a life coach? And then
Right.
what is that life coach going to do for me?
I think, yeah, that's such an interesting question. I think it's like we all need help, right? Like,
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
needs help. Like, me
You hear
even
that,
as a
Smiley? It's not just me. It's not just me,
Yeah.
Smiley.
I know I need help.
I'm a life coach and I need coaches, right? I
Mm,
need Reiki practitioners. I need a breathwork coach. Like, I still need all of these things, therapists and all of these things. And so it's like we all need help in one way or another. And so I think it's like, when we look at ourselves and we don't know who we are anymore, that's maybe when you need a life coach or somebody that can help you rediscover and figure out what's in here, what's inside of me, what lights me up. I know for me, I was in that place where I didn't even know who I was anymore. I was so seeking outside of myself and making people pleasing and making everybody else happy, and so worried about what I looked like from the outside, that I completely abandoned myself and abandoned what would truly light me up and make me happy. And so I
mm.
think if there's any question that you're not living in full alignment with yourself, that would be time to start finding these types of people, these life coaches, these healers and things, something else that helps you again get back into your body.
Okay, makes sense. So once I seek your skills and I sign up, is it like when I go to a physician, I have a headache, a sore throat, and a fever,
Mhm.
and they kind of do some tests and realize, oh, you have the flu. Take this, you're going to be fine. Do you do some sort of assessment, or is there just a standard approach for everyone? First, we're going to start with the cold plunge. Then we'll do some Reiki, and you'll be centered, and you'll be on your way. How does that work? How do you do the assessment?
Yeah.
And then what are the options based on the result of the assessment?
Yeah, so what I found, I mean, mostly there's like a questionnaire that I ask just to figure out, are we a right fit? I mostly, from my experience, feel mostly comfortable working with women in the life coaching realm. In the healing realm, definitely, like I work on men, and that's different. But for life coaching, I have more experience coming from the perspective of a woman, a mom, a wife. So there is questions that we go through. Life coaching is a beautiful thing in the way that it's really kind of driven by the client and what their needs are and where they're at. So every coaching client is going to have their week by week is going to be different based on where they're at, and have they had a life coach multiple times? Is this just like they've re-upped, like they've had a life coach for a little bit and they've gone away from it, and now it's like, okay, I got to get back on track, and so it really just depends. But like, so cold plunging is a little bit different. So I use cold plunging in a way of like, I do group events and we do cold plunging, and then I do offer those like one-on-one. And then sometimes like I will with my clients, like if we're in like 7 week session or something, where I'm working with them, I'll offer them like, do you want, as we end your session, would you like to do a cold plunge? And people do want to do it because it's incredible. It's so empowering. They are doing something that they don't think that they can do, and that scares them, and they leave and they're just glowing and empowered and feel so wonderful and beautiful. In my life coaching practice, I have really moved because I found so much success in the Reiki aspect of incorporating Reiki that I really am combining both. So you really are going to get life coaching and Reiki, because I believe that the transformation is truly going to come from healing. If we don't heal those things that are beneath the surface, if we don't deal with that, then we're going to continue to go back, and not have the full transformation. Once we can heal what's going on underneath, then I believe the real transformation happens.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. When I think about Western medicine, right? In some cases, the treatments are band-aids, right? So which means that whatever's ailing you is going to resurface.
Hmm.
In some cases, that's how Western medicine approaches it. Or in some cases, they just cut it out. I like the fact that, as it relates to being a life coach or receiving support for guidance in your life, you hit at the root of what is kind of distracting you and preventing you from being your best self. So I love that. The cold plunge, let's talk about that just a bit. Smiley, the ideal temperature for him is like 100 degrees plus. Like he loves the heat. Am I right, Smiley?
I'm dying on the equator. Yes,
Yeah.
I would. I'm in Tampa now, and it's 80 degrees, and I'm mad that it's not 90. So I
Yeah,
want it
yeah.
hot and humid.
Yeah.
So,
And then for me, I'd say the ideal temperature is, 80, around 80 or so.
Yeah,
The
you guys like
cold
to be
plunge,
comfortable.
exactly. So tell me the sell on the cold plunge, because I understand that it's kind of like you've achieved something that you didn't think you could achieve. You've accomplished a seemingly unsurmountable task. Why not just walk over hot coals? Why not just you know why not just eat some what's that bread they have in the Christmas time that everyone passes around, some fruit cake? Why not just eat some fruit cake? Why sell me on the cold plunge? So what is it about that specifically that you find to be so successful and helping turn people around?
Yeah. So again, it's one of the things that I found on my journey. I almost
Okay.
passed out before I did my first cold plunge.
Really?
Oh yeah, I was so scared. I was
Wow.
anxiety, hamster wheel. I mean, I was terrified. And
Yeah.
so, but afterward, oh my gosh, I felt amazing and I fell in love. I was
Okay.
like, that was absolutely incredible. And really, so the sell on the cold plunge, I mean, it's very trendy right now. So people are
It
like,
is very
okay, and
trendy. Yeah.
and most people will bring, friends. Like I do group events. So in the summertime, like there's, we have like 15 people in my backyard, and we're, and everybody's cheering each other on, and it's incredible.
Yeah.
Lots of celebration once people make it 5 minutes. Like it's phenomenal. Yeah, 5
Wow,
minutes.
wow,
Yeah.
wow.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
I can
It's like
Yeah.
imagine.
Rocky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so the beautiful thing, like I was saying, is that it brings us back into our bodies. So that's why I love cold plunging. Is it's like the thing that I do. If I've had a stressful day, if I've had a bad day, whatever it is, I get in that cold plunge, and it's me in that water. I can't hide from the water. I might cry in the water. Like whatever needs to come up, whatever needs to be out of me is going to be released in that water. And that is my, like, can I say bad bitch? That is my bad bitch moment.
I love
Yes,
it.
you
I love
can.
it.
I love
I
it.
mean, if anything happens, I'm like, yeah, you did that. Like, you did that. You can do anything. And I think that we so often choose comfort. And that, you both said it. You like to be comfortable. But what do we know about being comfortable?
You don't
That's
grow. You
not
don't
where our
grow.
growth comes from. Our growth does
Yeah.
not come from being comfortable. And
Yeah.
so when we immerse ourselves in this water and we do something really, really hard, first of all, it's stressful, but it's good stress. And so the other thing that happens is that we are finding, like, we can deal with bad stress as it happens more easily the more we put ourselves in stress. So whether it be a hard workout, a cold plunge, whatever that is, we're going to be able to handle other things as they come up in our lives, because it's like we're doing hard things on a regular basis.
I think this is so fascinating because I'm picking up a trend. We had a lady on who was the CEO of a construction company, mostly dominated by men, 99% men, but she has her own company. And she says what she does every morning. She's a former Division 1 basketball player. So she's an athletic person. And she's a little older, but she says every morning she takes a cold plunge, 3 minutes minimum, 5 minutes max. And then
Mhm.
she works out. And she says whatever she faces throughout the rest of the day is not going to be as difficult as what she starts her day with. And she's
Yeah.
been doing that every day for years. And then on the opposite extreme, we had another lady. She's a life coach, and she went to some place in Mexico with strangers in this hot room, like 105 degrees. They sat in there and sweated for an hour before they did some sort of healing cleansing, and then they came out refreshed. It's just amazing that I've never heard any of the men say, "Hey, let's take a cold plunge." Because I'm a guy. I'm in Florida where it's really hot in Tampa. I go up to the pool. My brother has a heated pool. I'll touch the thing with my toe, and then I walk around and get mentally psyched up and jump in the pool because I'm like,
And a
it's
heated
not
pool.
80 in a heated pool. Yeah, I need that for heated. Walking into the ocean, and the cold, I see it colder.
Oh,
I'm like, oh man. What's the temperature of the cold water when you jump in it?
Yeah.
Is it
38 to 42.
Whoa.
38 to 42?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
And they stay 5 minutes. I mean, like, they have the freedom to get out whenever they want. They have, all the things. I've had a couple of people get out at like 3 minutes, but most of the time they're like disappointed. Like, why did I do that? I didn't need to get out. But that's the thing, is our mind starts to tell
Mhm.
us, that we need to get out, and I can see in a person like how much they're surrendering, like if they're fighting against it. The most beautiful thing is just watching them just kind of sink into it and allow their
Mhm.
body just to take over and really just surrender. So it's incredible. You guys
surrender.
got to give it a try and tell me how
Yeah.
it goes.
Yeah.
And the
So
other
is
thing
it?
is, well, I'm coaching them too. So that's
Yeah.
the gift, is that it's not just them against the water. Like, I'm coaching them. I'm playing a sound bowl while they're in there. And so I'm keeping them in there. I'm keeping them with their breath. Like, that's the biggest thing, is getting your breathing under control. And so, I'm telling them how powerful they are. I'm feeding them so that they'll stay in the water. And I think that that's really the gift and the way to do the cold plunging for the first time, because of course it's like, if you if you're gonna do it by yourself in your backyard, you're gonna touch that water, you're gonna get out there and be like, what am I doing? You're gonna be like, all right, Crystal's not here, she's not watching
Right.
me, she has no idea what I just did, I'm out.
Yeah, exactly.
So
You know me well, Crystal. You know me
Yeah.
well.
so is it? I looked this up because after the first guest mentioned it, I see that these athletes, they have like a little tub. Is that what it is, or is it a swimming pool, or what is it? Is it a cold plunge container, or do they sell that? How do you do it in your backyard? Do you have a swimming pool, or is it jacuzzi? You just put ice in it.
We don't have very many swimming pools here in Oregon, Smiley.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Um,
That's fair. That's
no, I
fair.
have, so for my personal use, I actually have a converted chest freezer. But I feel like it's weird, when I'm facilitating for others to like, hey, come get my freezer. It's kind of weird,
Right.
So I
Kind of
do
like
have like, yeah, we're
Jeffrey
going to this
Dahmer.
girl's house. Yeah. Yeah. I did tell people when my husband converted that for us, and Dahmer was big at the time. And I told people, I'm like, just so you know, I have a freezer in my garage. Like, if I come up missing, just saying,
There
check
first.
check the freezer. But for my events, I just use inflatable cold plunges. Get a crap load of ice. It takes a lot of ice in those, and that's what I use for my events. So you can get them for like
Okay.
$100 on Amazon.
Okay.
Okay, nice.
That's
So tell
cool.
me this before we transition to the
Yep.
final four and Smile will kick it off for us. What would you say to someone who's on the fence in terms of, do I need a life coach? Do I not? And why are you that person that they should be connecting
I
with?
would say if it's important to you to live a life in a way where you are actually living versus surviving, that it's time to get a life coach or somebody, a healer or something to help you go in that direction, because living our lives is not in survival mode. Like, it's living, being present, and actually enjoying our days instead of living to Friday or living to Saturday. I think that if you're in survival mode Monday through Friday, you should probably get a life coach, because that's a lot of days you're trying to skip to get to the weekend. Um, I think that I am that life coach. Actually, I know I am, because I have a gentle approach. I'm effective, but again, like, I am not trying to spike your nervous system. I am trying to coach you and keep you regulated, but also help to heal what's underneath. And so if you're a person who wants to uncover and learn and discover more about yourself, then I'm that life coach for you.
Love that. And what's the best
Yeah.
way for someone to reach you to receive your service?
I'm on all of the social medias, of course. So I'm on
Okay.
Instagram, Facebook. Chrystal, my name is spelled with an H, so it's CH. So watch that. My
Yeah,
mom
yeah.
didn't think about all of the emails and social medias when she did my name. So anyway, yeah. So it's CH.
Okay.
But yeah, so Chrystal underscore Heart underscore on Instagram, or Healing from the Heart is my business name. And then Chrystal Hart Meeker, actually, because that's my married name, on Facebook, and then Chrystal Hart for my business page. So
Great.
all the
Great.
things.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll
And,
make sure to
and,
link to those on our podcast show notes. So,
so
Smiley.
question I have before we transition is, do you only work with women, or do you just prefer women? Because for the male listeners, and then are you only working with people in the US, or do you work with people all over the world?
I haven't worked with people. Well, actually, I have worked with a woman out of Canada. So I guess I can. Yeah. I mean, because a lot of
Yeah.
my sessions are virtual. So that's the beauty of Reiki, is that, and coaching, is that it can be done all virtually. So that really expands. In the healing realm, like, I will do Reiki sessions with men. For coaching, I'm just more comfortable with women. I haven't really stepped into that coaching realm with men, but definitely Reiki sessions and things like that, I work with men.
Thank you.
Nice.
All right. Well, so these are the final four. And Dre,
Oh, yeah. Final four.
All right.
All right, we're in the final four. So these are four questions we ask all our guests, and they're the random questions. But what is something that never fails to make you laugh? I mean, side busting, tears coming out of your eyes, laughter.
Probably French Bulldog videos. I have two French Bulldogs, and watching French Bulldog videos crack me up, like,
Okay.
to a point of, it's absolutely, like, it's just silliness.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I'll have to check those out.
Awesome.
I'll check those out.
Awesome.
I enjoy a good laugh, so I'll make sure to check
They're
those out.
funny dogs. They're
Are they?
hilarious. And when you see the videos, you relate. You're like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's my dog, you know?
Okay. What's one thing that most people don't know about you that you wish they did?
I think I'm starting to share it more, but I wish that people would have known sooner how the struggle that I felt inside. I wish I hadn't have worn so many masks and armor and really would have allowed people in and allowed them to really see like, yeah, I'm having a hard time. I'm struggling. You know, life isn't what it looks like from the outside. And I wish I would have shared that sooner. I'm starting to share it, but that's what I wish people would know.
Awesome. Here's one. If you had the opportunity to trade places or share a whole 24 hours with someone, who would that be and why?
You know, I thought of this question and I'm really at a point where I'm really obsessed with my life. And so I tried to think about who would I want to switch with. And I think I would actually want to switch with my 12-year-old son. And the reason for that actually makes me pretty emotional. I wish he could see himself from my perspective.
That's
And I
deep.
wish that I could see his struggles from his perspective. And so like with him being such an important person in my life, I think that's who I'd switch with.
That's
Oh, that's
powerful.
beautiful. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
beautiful.
I have a 16-year-old son. So as you say that, I'm trying to imagine, the power behind that if he and I were to switch places.
I have a 16-year-old daughter, and I took her to Spelman College last week, and I embarrassed her 6 times before noon. And I would just love to sit with her just so I'd be like, well, what am I doing that embarrassed you so much?
Right.
But, it's just like, wow, that's deep. That's the first time we had that response, Drake. I like that.
Yeah, I love that.
Awesome.
I love that. Okay. What's the best compliment that you've ever received?
The best compliment, I don't know if it's actually verbally, but after I see people after either a Reiki session or after a cold plunge, and they're like glowing, and I can visually see the transformation that happens. Like you can't put words to that. You can only just see it, and you can't hide from it because you can see it so much. So I think that that's it. And also just to be able to surrender, like when I'm doing a Reiki session and somebody's on my table and they're completely surrendered and they're so like calm and comfortable that they either fall asleep or they start snoring or whatever, to me that's such a compliment. Like they fully are trusting me as the practitioner at that time.
Yeah.
Well, this has been fascinating. I must have confessed, I had to Google Reiki. I was like, what is Reiki? And I looked that up when I saw your bio and I was intrigued. So then I was like about 17 to 20 minutes into all these different YouTube videos, seeing what it is. So I was excited to meet you, and you're a breath of fresh air. So thank you for being on the podcast. I really appreciate
Thank you
Drake.
guys. Well, I mean, I'm going to get you guys in a cold plunge. I got to. Like, this is going to be my mission.
I'm telling you, I'm
inspired.
inspired. I'm motivated because one thing I do enjoy a challenge. The only and speaking of challenge, the only challenge, I'm sure you've heard this from lots of other people, is like, how do I make it happen at my house? I've seen people on YouTube and things just use their tub and fill it with ice. Is that the same, or do I need to actually go get a deep freezer?
Yeah, no, you can do it. You could do it that way. Yeah, if you were going to have a regular practice, that would be hard. Like you'd have to get a lot of ice. Even the tap water. I don't know what your tap water comes out in Florida, but I'd imagine that would take a lot of ice. But I mean, even just getting those pools, you probably in Florida, there's probably places that have cold plunge pools.
Yeah.
He's in Nashville.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're in
he's
Nashville.
in Nashville.
Okay.
Yeah. He's
Okay.
Same boat. I mean, I don't know that, I would imagine they probably have a lot of places that sell these, portable type things. So
Yeah.
I'll explore
Seriously, on Amazon, you can get them like you
There
can
you
have
go.
it in 2 days. We could have it by
That's right.
Tuesday.
Well,
The pressure. Oh no.
to support your cold plunge, Dre, I will fly up to Nashville and
watch me do
supervise
it.
you, coach you on. Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
you can do it.
I love it. I love it.
If you need a push, just let me know when I can push you in.
You guys have to record this for me, please.
Will.
Chrystal, thanks again for being on the podcast. I love
Thank
it.
you.
All right.